Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the First Chapter series. I am your lovely host, Miss Disney. And in case you have not noticed my shirt, which reads 101 Dalmatians, we may be reading a book about 101 Dalmatians. Can you guess? Well, if you've been watching my series, you'll notice that I've been reading a certain series, and yep, that's right. It's another Disney Chills, and this time it's called Be Careful What You Wish For by Vera Strange. And yes, it features Cruella De Vil. So this story is about a 13-year-old Delia loves fashion and beauty products. She spends hours in her room attempting to take the perfect selfie. All she wants is to be as cool and trendy as the other girls in her new school. Unfortunately, Delia's family doesn't have a ton of money, so keeping up with the latest styles is next to impossible. But when Delia finds a near-flawless faux fur coat that's been discarded, she discovers that whenever she wears it, she's transformed. Literally. She becomes prettier, more confident, and, as a result, more popular. She's raking up the likes both virtually and IRL. Finally, everything in her life is perfect. That is, until the original owner of the coat decides that she wants it back. Enter Cruella De Vil, a woman who will stop at nothing to reclaim her most prized possession, even though she's long been dead. Ooh. And when Delia tries to make a deal with the De Vil, she'll learn that beauty is never worth the price. Let's get started. Hashtag selfie. Click. Delia studied the selfie on her phone, displayed in the Pic Perfect app. Her face stared back at her from the screen, familiar, yet almost like a stranger. Hazel eyes, freckled cheeks, wavy brown hair, heart-shaped lips. Her eyes were the only thing that she liked about her appearance. Emerald, flecked with cinnamon and even a little gold. It was a rare eye color, and she'd gotten it from both her parents. Mom had the emerald green eyes, while her father had cinnamon brown. Or so she'd been told. She never actually met him, nor did her mother keep pictures of him around. Still, Delia frowned at her picture. She could spot every flaw in her skin, especially the monster pimple threatening to explode on the tip of her nose. Why did it always choose that spot? She approached the standing mirror, crammed into the corner of her little attic bedroom of their Chicago brownstone, and peered at her skin up close. She picked at the zit, but that just made it worse. Red and angry and swollen. Why today of all days, she muttered. Why not yesterday or even tomorrow? It was like the zit knew that it was her first day at her new middle school. It was an evil zombie zit. It had a life of its own. A rush of anxiety crashed through her. There was no way to hide this thing, and she needed to look perfect for her first day. Her mother had always drummed that idea into her head. You only get one chance to make a first impression. Almost as if reading her thoughts, a prompt pinged from her phone. Ready to post to Pic Perfect? Don't let your ranking slide. Delia's heart stopped. No, I'm not ready. Couldn't the app detect the zombie zit on her nose? Apparently not, but the app so needed to add that feature. She quickly hit dismiss, even though she did need to keep posting fresh content to her profile to keep her ranking high. At her old school, she and her two best friends in the world, Aaliyah and Zoe, had the highest rankings in their class. That also meant that they were the most popular kids. Pretty much every kid in her age had the Pic Perfect app and monitored it closely, the way adults watch the weather or the stock market, tracking the slightest shifts and changes. If you didn't keep posting selfies and getting comments, then your ranking would plummet. But there was a catch. You couldn't post just any old pic. Posting bad selfies was worse than not posting at all. The goal was to collect the pink heart emojis and avoid the dreaded red devil faces. Users clicked one if they liked your selfie and the other if they didn't. The more hearts, the more views you got, and the more popular your account became. That was the goal. Grow your followers. The more hearts, the better. But one devil could make your account ranking plummet, and fast. Delia didn't want to post a bad selfie and lose her high ranking. Plus, there was even more pressure today from experience. She knew that the first thing the kids at her new school would do after they met her was search out her pic-perfect profile and check out her ranking and feed. At the top of it would be her selfie from that morning. First impressions mattered. That meant it had to be even more perfect than usual. Zombie zits were not allowed. Delia studied the selfie, still displayed on her phone screen, waiting for her to post it. It just didn't look perfect. Delia tried dabbing on a little pale cream concealer, but the zit was still visible like a volcano about to erupt and spew gunk. She swiped on some mascara and pale lip gloss, the only makeup her mother allowed. Mom had lots of strict rules, which annoyed Delia, but she found ways around them. Miss Smith, their landlady, let her do chores around the house for a modest payment, which Delia used to buy forbidden makeup, like pink blush and eyeshadow at the drugstore. Delia stashed the contraband in a makeup bag and tucked it into her backpack to apply later at school, where her mom wouldn't bust her. That was her normal routine, and usually Zoe and Aliyah were there to help. But today, she'd be on her own, and it was especially important that she looked her best. She needed every bit of help she could get, even if it came from a lipstick tube and blush palette. Her eyes flicked back to her face in the selfie. She frowned and hit retake. The camera screen loaded up again in Pic Perfect. The PP icon stared back at her, daring her to try again. She changed her shirt, slipping into a purple top. She aimed the phone at her face, but then grimaced. Ugh, why did I ever think I looked good in purple? Delia tossed the purple shirt aside, where it landed in a heap on the floor, and swapped it for an off-the-shoulder, loosely woven turquoise sweater. She peered back into the camera, angling it high and down at her face. Still, she wasn't satisfied. While the sweater had looked great in the store, the turquoise now seemed to make her skin look pallid and greenish. She switched to a black turtleneck, hoping a neutral color would help. But it just made the zit on her nose more visible. Worse yet, with every wardrobe change, her hair was getting more disheveled and frizzier. Finally, Delia gave up on trying new tops and instead tried changing the angle of the selfie. Posing by the window in natural light, despite the chilly winter day outside, then casually leaning on her bed with its colorful bedspread, which she had since childhood, then full-on model glamming it up in front of her mirror. Click, click, click. She snapped away, but each picture wasn't pic-perfect picture. She sighed. No matter what she tried, something always seemed to be wrong. Suddenly, she missed her friends like a stab to her heart. They'd always take selfies together, on the way to school, or in the bathroom between classes, or after class let out in the afternoons. When they'd gather at one of their houses to work on their homework, Alia and Zoe would always would have been able to help her troubleshoot her morning selfie woes, fixing what was wrong. They'd know if it was the wrong top or makeup, or simply the pose or angle of the shot. They always did everything together. But that was over now. Her friends were still attending her old public school, and Delia would be starting at Gilded Crest Academy, the fancy private school uptown, all alone. Missing her friends terribly, she flopped down on her bed and scrolled over to their profiles, feeling worse with each selfie that she flipped through. Their pics were so perfect, pink hearts clustered under each image, not a devil face in sight. But that wasn't what made her feel bad. Of course she wanted her friends to get all the hearts and have tons of loyal followers. What made her feel bad was the post from that morning. Her eyes studied the pic at the top of their profiles. Alia and Zoe posed together on the L train. The caption read, "First day of second semester," with a cluster of trendy hashtags trailing after it. Her friends looked so happy, even though Delia wasn't there. They didn't look sad or like they missed her at all. In the past, it would have been the three of them riding the train to school together, snaking through the tops of the city's red brick buildings with a clankety clank of the tracks beneath them. The more Delia studied the pic of her friends, the more it felt like she had been photoshopped out of it, almost like she had been erased from their lives. Worse yet, they looked like they were having so much fun without her. Their faces grinned into the camera. Aaliyah, with her dark skin and tightly curled black hair cropped short like a runway model, and Zoe with her blonde bangs and shoulder-length bob cut perfectly straight, almost like an antique porcelain doll. They both wore puffy coats and stylish vintage-inspired clothes. "You don't even miss me," Delia whispered to the selfie, feeling sorry for herself. For the 1,000th time, she wished that her mother wasn't making her switch schools, especially in the middle of the school year. Her stomach twisted. But then, ring, ring, ring. A vid chat call was coming in on the app. Delia's heart leapt with joy, recognizing the caller. She hit answer. "We miss you." Aaliyah's voice echoed out of her phone. Her face lit up and she squealed into the phone when she saw Delia. Then another voice cut her off. "Hey, stop hogging her. Give me some screen time." That was Zoe. And it was so very Zoe. She pushed Aaliyah out of the shot in a playful way, flashing a big grin and waving manically at the screen. Zoe was super high energy and played almost every sport imaginable: softball, swimming, tennis, volleyball, even ping pong. Delia smiled at the memory of them piled on pillows on the floor of Zoe's basement to watch the Summer Olympics, a once-in-every-4 years event. Her favorite event was the high dive. She loved how graceful the divers looked arcing through the air before plunging into the deep end. Meanwhile, Aaliyah's favorite sport was virtual, and it wasn't played at the Olympics yet. She was a big gamer, loving RPGs the most. Battlestar Asteroid was her specialty. She even had followers online and streamed her gameplay live for them to watch. She was sort of a legend, if you were into that sort of thing. Delia wasn't into games, but she loved how different she and her friends were, and how despite those differences, they could still be the very best of friends. "We saw you lurking on our profile," Aaliyah said with a mock accusing look, "and posting hearts to all our selfies. So we decided to call you," Zoe chimed in, "and have like a convo IRL, Aaliyah finished. Delia laughed. Zoe and Aaliyah had been friends for so long, they could basically finish each other's thoughts. The two of them had met in daycare, though technically neither of them could remember that, while Delia met them her first day of second grade, when her mom had moved them from Philadelphia to Chicago. Sometimes the closeness of Aaliyah and Zoe's bond brought out Delia's insecurities, but her friends had a way of making her feel like she belonged with them, no matter what was happening. Just like today. So, are you super excited for your first day at your posh new school? Zoe asked. Both their faces crammed into the shot. They peered at her eagerly. I don't know. You have no idea how much I miss you. We miss you too, Aaliyah said. But something else is wrong. Yeah, spill it, Zoe added. I know that tone in your voice. No secrets, remember? Aaliyah added with an arched eyebrow. We're best friends forever. Going to different schools doesn't change that. Forever means forever. Okay, Delia said, feeling her nerves flare up. I guess I'm nervous about the new school. It's different than Shady Grove. It's a private school with all these traditions and people, and they're lucky to have you, Zoe said. You're the best, and you're the smartest person I know. You're the only reason I passed math last year. They're gonna love you. Alia nodded. Yeah, you'll have zero problems making new friends. But how do you know? Delia said, her insecurity so deep. It felt like the undertow in a big wave threatening to suck her under. What if they already have their friend groups and no one wants to, sit with me or talk to me or whatever? You made friends with us, and we were already a friend group, Aaliyah said pointedly, exchanging a look with Zoe. And we're awesome, Zoe agreed. Just look at our Pick Perfect ranking. Delia's eyes flashed to the number in the corner of the VidChat screen. It was true. They had the highest ranking in their school. That made Delia feel better. Her friends knew her better than anyone. Their faith in her ability to make new friends boosted her confidence. She felt her nerves about her first day and her FOMO about not being with her besties ebb a bit. Their selfie on Pick Perfect was just one picture. And deep down, despite their perfect appearances and worry-free smiles, her friends really did miss her. She had to remember that pictures didn't always tell the whole story. In fact, sometimes they even lied. Thanks. You're the best. Delia started, feeling gratitude thrumming in her chest. I really mean it. I don't know what I'd do without you. Oh, sorry, Aaliyah cut her off. Gotta go. We're at our stop. Yeah, one more tardy, Zoe said with a panicked expression, and I swear my folks are going to disown me and make me quit ping pong. They said it's stretching me too thin. And no more Battlestar Asteroid for me, Aaliyah said. Screen time grounding is worse than regular grounding. I'm happy to stay home, just don't take away my Wi-Fi. Bye, Delia, good luck, they chorused. With that, the screen went dead, dissolving back into the Pick Perfect home screen. Delia wished they had more time to chat, or better yet, that they still attended the same school so they could spend the whole day together. Virtual friendship is better than nothing, she told herself. Delia posed one last time and raised her phone to try again. Click! She snapped the selfie, forcing a brave smile. And this time, for some magical reason, when she checked the photo on her screen, she actually liked the picture. While the zombie zit was still there, it looked less monstrous somehow. Her frizzy hair was also less frizzy. It was the magic of friendship, she decided. It had boosted her confidence. She wrote a quick caption. To the two best friends in the whole world. I miss you. Then she tagged Aaliyah's and Zoe's accounts. Perfect. At that moment, an impatient voice reverberated through the townhouse. making her jump and hit post before she could properly hashtag it. Delia, you're gonna be late for school!